Queen of Pro Wrestling fans, I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. This is Bobby Orlando's super duper really awesome Jamboree Extravaganza, named by Bobby, hosted by Bobby. That's a mouthful and a half, and say that 3 times fast. Was a wild and crazy show, and I'll say something about it near the end of this video about this, well, not you'll. I'm at a loss of words right now. Sorry, folks. But about 10 minutes before took the Long Island Railroad, went to go eat at Lindbergh Eats on Merrick Road, which wasn't so busy. And when I arrived at the building, they opened up. Ain't that a shock? It was like about 7:01. Can't complain about that. But from there, about 10 minutes before the show comes out, Dr. James Parker. Yeah, about 10 minutes before the show started, Dr. James Parker comes out. I remember seeing him at NYWC in the past, and he was like asking the crowd who they think will win the matches. But then he's interrupted by Jackson Crow. I apologize if I get his name wrong. And he holds up signs saying "Justice for Jackson," and another sign that he ended up breaking them for some reason. We'll never know where that's going to go, unfortunately. Bobby Orlando comes in the ring with the championship belt, and he announces that because Ryan Peterson's going to be having his in-ring debut as a wrestler, that he's basically Ryan's been given the night off for ring announcing. Bobby was ready to get the whole crowd to say "this" in unison, and he had a countdown from the number 3. But before he reached 1, out comes the 2025 King of Cap Battle Royal winner Leo Sparrow, and he's talking about that in the main event tonight, I'm going to take the belt from you, Bobby, and all this other stuff. But Bobby Orlando said, you know what? We're not going to go at it. Bobby says, Leo, we're not going to go at it later on. We're going to go at it right now. And the match was on for the heavyweight championship. Was contested in a basketball match where the only way to win is to use your opponent as a basketball. Pretty good stuff in this matchup these two guys had. At one point, the crowd was chanting, "Defense! Defense!" when Leo Sparrow was in control. At one point, the female referee, I forgot her name, let's just say she channeled her inner Bill Alfonso. She took a whistle out of her pocket, blew the whistle into Sparrow, and she said technical foul. I think it was, I don't know, that's when Sparrow got his hands on that basketball net he was choking Bobby with. Bobby brought a door with a basketball hoop attached to it. At one point, a toy basketball hoop was brought into play, and Sparrow, I think he used it on Bobby. I don't know if he broke it over Bobby or it broke before he got to use it. Eventually, Bobby, he powerbombs Sparrow onto that door with the basketball hoop. Bobby Orlando defeats Leo Sparrow in the basketball match at 11 minutes 51 seconds to retain the heavyweight championship. And then Bobby continued to ring announce for the rest of the show. And then he brought our next match, which was billed as David versus Goliath. Just Joe, not Joey Legend from WWE's past, to take on Bryce Donovan, who months earlier, let's just say he broke on through to the other side. In a match where Just Joe was allowed to use a slingshot. Yeah, hello Bart Simpson. And the match was on, and I think it was my first time. I think it might have been I don't know if Just Joe's debut or not. But he came out to, Just Joe came out to Blitzkrieg Pop. I think the Ramones sang that song. Let's go. Blitzkrieg Pop. That song. I don't know if the Ramones or another group sang it. Eventually, Just Joe, he gets to try to use the slingshot, but whatever little, I don't know, that was like a little ping pong ball, one of those ping pong balls, maybe softer than a ping pong ball, didn't even hit Bryce, and Bryce hits Just Joe with a choke slam. The crowd's chanting one more time, but then Bryce just pins Just Joe. Bryce Donovan defeats Just Joe in the David versus Goliath match at 5 minutes 8 seconds But I don't know if it's me, but Just Joe looks to be close to Bryce's height. After the match, Bryce goes to chokeslam Joe again, but out from the crowd comes Evil Kip, who Bryce turned on back at Celtic Pride back in March. And the referees come out, they had the whole Kip back. Kip wants the microphone, and I forgot what he said to Bryce, but the fans are chatting, chicken shit at Bryce. And Kip says, I can't say that. But he called Bryce a piece of garbage and challenged him to a match when Creative Pro returns on September 7th. Next up, we had from the Adrenaline Express VSK taking on CPA in a 60-second Iron Man match. VSK, let's just say, was channeling his inner HBK. He was wearing Shawn Michaels-like tights, along with a pink and black jacket a la Bret Hart. But I believe VSK and Eric James, the Adrenaline Express, they unveiled those pink and black jackets earlier this year. But at least the good news is VSK still comes out to Expose's point of no return. Expose, they were a great group back in the 80s and early 90s. So, and CPA still comes out to Creed's My Sacrifice, but he comes out, I don't know, it was like a spray bottle or a water bottle in his hand instead of a microphone, but, we still had Create a Karaoke. The crowd was singing that song as he came to the ring. Well, the thing was, the bell rings to start the match. CPA immediately takes off his first shirt, and then VSK slowly takes off the jacket, but all of a sudden 60 seconds went by, and that was it for the bell. But then Bobby Orlando says restart the timer, and they go at it again, and eventually they had one decision each, but then the 60 seconds ran out a second time. And then Bobby Orlando says, 1 more minute! And then they both get 2 decisions apiece in the third minute, and still ending in a tie. And then Bobby Orlando decides the match is going to go to sudden death, where the next decision and wins the match. In the process, CPA took off his second shirt, his third shirt, and I believe he took off, had the fourth shirt he wore. I thought maybe I'd have seen that Hulk Hogan passed away recently. I thought maybe I'd have a Hulk Hogan shirt on. But he didn't have any shirt on after the fourth shirt came off. CPA defeats VSK in sudden death the sudden death period lasted 5 minutes 30 seconds to pick up the victory. After the match, VSK attacks CPA, and he tells referee Steven Dumang to shut up. He demands the microphone, and he noticed Kevin Tibbs, who was a tag team partner of CPA that was the Midlife Express a few years back, and VSK referred to Tibbs as a washed-up has-been. But then VSK took the microphone. He said he wants to have a match on September 7th against Mike Santana, who was from TNA. But then VSK goes to keep attacking CPA, but then Kevin Tibbs comes through the crowd and attacks VSK, helps CPA to the ring, and Kevin and CPA are singing My Sacrifice after VSK left the ring. Next up, we had Hair versus Hair for the Tag Team Championship as QGTM, Pat Fitzpatrick and Jay Macias challenged Aaron Ortiz and Anthony Vecchio, the Shooter Boys, for the Tag Team Championship, where it was Hair versus Hair. The Shooter Boys were victorious over QGTM at 8 minutes 34 seconds to win the Tag Team Championship. But after the match, both Shooter Boys have Pat Fitzpatrick sitting in a chair, and but Pat was already bald, but they put the shaving cream on his head, and they were going to use the straight razor on him, but I think he bailed from the ring a la Kurt Angle back in 2002 at Judgment Day. All right. Up next was the special special attraction singles match, as Rocker Boy Nick Robles attacked the Silver Sniper T.J. Crawford as he was coming to the ring for the match, and they started going at it. Eventually, T.J. Crawford pins Nick Robles to pick up the victory with his feet on the ropes. Then it was six-man tag team action as we saw the artist Jake Lang, Liam Davis, and Jay George channeling his inner Raven, and they were accompanied by a lady who had a bunch of tattoos, and she was wearing a shirt that said Lady Killjoy. Not sure if that's going to be her ring name or not. As they did battle with the Dime Piece, Aaron Rourke, Dan Barry, and ECW alumnus the Blue Meanie in an EC Dub match. Now, Meanie and Jay George are in the ring, and Jay George saying, "Oh, this is the EC Dub match. Let's have a dance-off." The BWO theme, which Meanie came out to, is playing, and Jay George is trying to dance, and Blue Meanie is still doing his usual, raising the roof thing that he did back in the late 90s. Well, Blue Meanie, Aaron Rourke, and Dan Barry defeat Jake Lang, Jay George, and Liam Davis at 11 minutes 3 seconds. At that point in time, they had gone to intermission. They went to intermission. At that point in time, it was just too hectic in that area where the wrestlers have their tables set up and everybody's coming through. Somebody was trying to go use the bathroom. It was hectic. I'm hoping someday to get a picture with Bear Bronson and Gabby Forza. Bear was a certain wrestler from Long Island known as Bear Bronson. Bear Bronson. I didn't see Gabby Forza. She was probably getting ready for her match. Hope to get a picture with both of them someday. But the action resumes as we saw Azure and Somerset, the Even Stevens, as they did battle with sexy Ryan Peterson and his mystery partner. Ryan said he had a bunch of mystery partners in mind, even past Creative Pro wrestlers that are not there anymore. And he said before he came out the curtain, someone stopped him. And it was none other than the Dominican destroyer, Vargas. Not surprisingly, the Even Stevens and Vargas practically worked the match. At one point, everybody was out on the floor. Stephen Dumeng is trying to get everybody back in the ring, and he's counting, but he climbs up to the top rope. He does a dive onto both Even Stevens. Stephen Dumeng, no relation to those guys. Eventually, the match ends when Ryan Peterson and Vargas defeat the Even Stevens at 7 minutes 53 seconds. Up next, it was the reverse battle royal for the television championship. Dante Drago is the best, and among the participants in this one were Los Toxicos, Sebastian Amor and Ustic Sucio. We had La Magnifico and I forgot his partner's name, the other one with the mask on. We saw, who else I saw in that chaos? Well, the two chaos. It would bring, but the idea was that the rules were that the two men who come in the ring would go at it one-on-one for the television championship, and Dante was asking Bobby Alano, so if I don't get in the ring, that means I lose the TV belt? At one point, a bunch of the guys, they grabbed Dante and they picked him up and put him behind the curtain, but he still made it way back. Angelo Carter got in the ring, and then Dante got in the ring. The battle royal went 2 minutes 6 seconds. Dante Drago is the best, defeated Angelo Carter at 6 minutes 28 seconds to retain the television championship. But then Drago was attacked by Silver Sniper T.J. Crawford, only to be saved by Rocker Boy Nick Robles. And then Robles helped Drago out of the ring, so we'll see where that scenario goes. Unless Robles is not done with Crawford. Up next, we had a match where the loser would get his phone smashed. Social media wrestling sensation Tommy Invincible challenged the leading man, Jack Tomlinson, for the Mayhem medal. Invincible had things going his way, but then out comes someone who comes up to the apron, and Tomlinson took the Mayhem medal and hits Invincible in the head with it, and Tomlinson pins Invincible at 4 minutes 56 seconds to retain the Mayhem medal. And then this unknown man that came to the ring, he gives Invincible an exploder suplex and a spine buster, and they left Invincible laying. Then it was time for the main event. It was a Bloodline Rules dog collar match, as the Nomi, Gabby Forza, defended the Women's Championship against Latina Spice, Nat Castle. So yeah, we had Bloodline Rules and a dog collar match wrapped up in one. Gabby seemingly had things going her way throughout most of this. I mean, this was one heck of a show again. I mean, if this gets released on YouTube or IWTV, or if I don't know if it was live streamed on Twitch or not. You know, watch it once it's available, once it's up and running. Eventually, Castle's comrades, Los Toxicos, Sebastian Amor, and Ustic Sucio, they come out. But then out comes Bear Bronson. And then I forgot, was it Sucio or Amor? One of them took the mic and said, we have our secret weapon, the newest members of Los Toxicos. And it was none other than Slade, who months earlier was kind of feuding with Bronson. There were thumbtacks laying in the ring that Nat Castle had put on the mat. And Slade sees the thumbtacks and takes his fist and right into the... I don't know if some of them got stuck to his knuckles or not. And Slade looks at Bronson, offers a handshake. Bronson looks up, stands up, they shake hands. And Bronson and Slade do a number on Amor and Sucio and chase them from the ring. Gabby power slams Nat Castle on the tacks in the ring. She tries to get a pin, but out comes General Manager of the Answer to Your Prayers, Ariella Nix. I forgot she stopped referee Stephen Dumaine from making the 3 count, or she grabbed Gabby, and you know, Gabby wanted to go after her, and Nix is telling Gabby, "You can't touch me." I think Nix distracted the referee. In the meantime, Gabby tried to go for the spear, but Nat hits Gabby in the head with the championship belt, tries to pin her, but Gabby kicks out. Then Castle, she puts Gabby Forza in the the crossface, but took like the chain of the dog collar, put it around Gabby's mouth, and Stephen Dumaine's right there asking if she wants to submit, and she's saying no, but then she starts to fade, and then Dumaine checks Forza's arm, it drops, and then calls for the bell. The Latina Spice, Nat Castle, defeats the Nomi, Gabby Forza, at 26 minutes 11 seconds in a Bloodline Rules dog collar match to become the new Creative Pro Women's Champion. Sucio and Amor come back out and celebrate the victory with Castle. And this was, like I said, the one wild and crazy show. President Knowles is good sitting with Sam and Lauren for this one. Sitting in the front row was can't remember her name right now. Hold that thought. Yeah, sitting in the front row, right near me was Sierra, who I know was in the past training to wrestle, so I don't know if she's given up on it or she's quit. But she was sitting front row, and I don't know if she's done with wrestling training or what the deal is with her. That one dude sitting in front of me, he was quite the fan. No point in saying it. A lot of pretty women in the crowd. Well, even though the megaphones are banned from the shows, Creative Pro Wrestling, I think it's safe to say, Create a Karaoke is going to live on. Because so many of the crowd was singing a lot of the songs at the show tonight. Okay. It was announced Creative Pro Wrestling returns to Lynbrook on Sunday, September 7th, and already announced is TNA superstar Mike Santana taking on VSK. Other matches, I believe Evo Kip's facing Bryce Donovan one-on-one. I don't know if they're going to have like another insert name here on the show. Unfortunately, I will not be there September 7th. I don't do Sunday shows during football season. Now, I will say, another thing, because the show ended at 11 o'clock, unfortunately, I could not make it in time to get the 11:10 train to head back home, to head back home. I had to wait for, like, the next train didn't come till like almost midnight, and I had to take that one. Well, I will say, Creative Pro Wrestling, Bobby Orlando, I think this is Bobby Orlando's super duper really awesome Jamboree Extravaganza, named by Bobby, hosted by Bobby. I don't know if it could be a yearly thing, but I think there should definitely be a sequel. Because, I knew going in this was going to be a fun show. And this was actually, I forgot to mention, this was my first Creative Pro show since Celtic Pride back in March. I was not at the April show in Hicksville. I was not at the Melville show in May. I was not at Prelude to this earlier this month. But I'm hoping someday Creative Pro Wrestling will have an all-women's show. But obviously, a lot of women are going to be needed for that to happen. But, you definitely did great Creative Pro Wrestling. Again, I'd say this particular show, again, either a yearly thing or someday a sequel. Man, oh man, it was good to be back in that nice air-conditioned Knights of Columbus. I know it's just so unfortunate that I won't be coming September 7th because I don't do Sunday shows during football season. Alright, but can't wait to be back at Creative Pro. I mean, I'm sure they'll be back in Melville in the fall, but no date's been announced yet. So, Creative Pro Wrestling, it was great to be back. Even though I can't bring a megaphone anymore. CAP, 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 CAP.